So summer is just beginning, and while you're vacation planning, do you have a plan in place for your reptiles care while you're on your trip? Well, stick around because in today's video, I'm going to give you some tips on how to have a relaxed, stress-free vacation, knowing that your reptile is safe and well taken care of at home. So stick around. My name is Nick Pulaski. Growing up, I have always had a passion for wildlife, and with that passion, along with my passion of filmmaking, I get taken on some amazing adventures creating wildlife content, getting up close with a variety of incredible animals. So come follow along as I pursue my goals of educating, inspiring, exploring, and conserving wildlife, all while having fun, seeing the beauty in our natural world. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for joining me here today. As you can see, I am joined by one of my ball pythons here, my female hypo banana NG. Isn't she beautiful? She is looking great and putting on a lot of tremendous size, that's for sure. So today's video is all about vacation planning and vacation tips and tricks while you're gone on vacation. Help make sure that your reptile is well taken care of while you're on vacation. So that's what we're going to be doing here today. So keep in mind that reptiles are great pets because they don't require around-the-clock attention like, say, a dog would, where they constantly need to be taken out, they constantly need the affection. One of the reasons a reptile is a great pet is because they don't need around-the-clock attention and care. These guys are great independent animals, and basically as long as you're meeting their needs and you're well maintaining them, they are going to be totally fine. As much as you're going to be missing them on vacation, they are going to be totally fine, and they probably won't even know that you're gone. And that's the great thing about reptiles, is they are great independent animals for the most part, where you don't have to worry about around-the-clock care for these guys. So this time of year is normally summer vacation for a lot of people, and typically around this time of year is when people start planning vacations, and they go for about a week's length of time on average. So for periods of time when you're going to be gone on vacation or trips or travel or whatever, what do you do with your reptiles during that time? Let's go over some tips right now that could help you guys in the future while you're planning your vacation trips to help plan for your reptile as well. But if you don't hear a tip from this video, definitely leave it down below in the comments. We're all here to help one another, so I want to hear some of your tips down in the comments and suggestions of what you do while you take your reptile on vacation. And if you don't have suggestions, but you do have some vacations planned, I want to hear where you guys are going, so let me know those down in the comments as well. Currently, I don't have any vacations planned myself, but I definitely will be going to some reptile shows by some nearby states in the future, so very excited about that. So the first tip that I have for you guys is finding someone that you guys trust and is trustworthy to handle and take care of your animals while you're gone, and check in on your animals mainly. Making sure that their needs are met, if they need to be misted, if they want to switch out their food and clean their water. Those are the things that you want to make sure on. Spot cleaning, all of those things. You want to make sure that someone can come in potentially on these longer trips to check in on your animals and make sure everyone is taken care of. And you want to make sure it's someone trustworthy for one, and someone that would be confident enough to do these jobs for you while you're gone as well too. With a little bit of your guidance, of course. You shouldn't expect them to know everything, so they will definitely need your guidance down the line. So with that being said, what I would first recommend maybe doing is maybe having them come over right before your trip and kind of seeing the processes on how things go and how you maintain your animals, and making sure that they kind of understand and have a grip if they need to do certain tasks for your reptiles. That would be the first step. The next thing that I would also recommend doing is also writing things down, maybe putting down a checklist for them on things that they need to look out for, things they need to check in on, if they need to clean food bowls and replenish food, if they need to replenish the water and clean waters, if they need to spot clean, if they need to do certain maintenance like spray down the enclosure or anything like that. All great things to put on a checklist. Maybe even put it on a post-it note if you have multiple different enclosures for certain animal needs, just so things don't get mixed up. Putting it right on the enclosure so they can figure out what needs to be done for specific reptiles. That's another great tip that I would recommend doing, is doing something like that. Beyond that as well, what I've also personally done is I've actually filmed myself doing these processes in the act. So I've actually set up a camera and showed myself like cleaning the tortoises and feeding the tortoises, setting up the tortoises and making sure that they're getting their baths and everything like that, making sure that people know how to spot clean a cage properly and what to do and how to handle a snake. I mean, you want to make sure that this person is pretty confident, but I mean, this is the stuff that you want to maybe do to help make sure that your animal is getting the utmost care possible while you are gone. So filming some different processes as well is never a bad thing as well too. So having those things on hand as resources for the person taking care of your animals, all great things. I definitely would recommend doing those things, so keep those things in mind. If you are having someone come and check in on your animals, always making sure beforehand that everything is stockpiled up on anything that the person may need. So any of the food supplies that the animal will require, any of the maintenance supplies that the animal would require as well. All great things to have on hand and stockpiled beforehand before the person comes, to make sure that everything is there if the person does require certain things. So making sure that you have all the basic supplies that are needed while you're gone on your trip, so the person can come in, pick up the certain supplies and do their thing with that with convenience and ease. That's always important as well too. You want this as stress-free as possible for all parties involved, including your reptile friend. And another great tip is adding automated systems to your reptile enclosures. So for example, for a lot of my reptiles in this room, I have automated systems in place like timers to turn on and off certain lights like basking spots and UVB lights. I have all those preset on timers to come on during the day and turn off at night, so no one has to touch those whatsoever. Same with my misting systems. My misting systems are all set up on timers. So that makes everything really convenient for me, because I don't need anyone to come in here and spray down enclosures, overspray, and worry about those things as well too. The misters will kick on, they'll kick off, and I don't have to worry about those things. I just have to make sure that before I leave for my trips, I make sure that my misters are refilled. That way I don't have to worry about them for at least a week, because the reservoirs will normally hold a week's worth of water, which is perfect. So that is also a great thing to keep in mind as well too. Automated systems, if you can manage those, are a great thing to keep in mind. And another great thing about automated systems nowadays, certain systems you can actually activate through your phone. So you can actually manually and remotely turn on and off these systems right at the convenience of your phone, which is an awesome thing that you can do nowadays, and I love that about technology. So I really want to keep going and investing on these different technologies, because I would love to have a super tech savvy reptile room. I mean, it's not about taking away the maintenance for these animals. There's obviously always going to be manual maintenance, but the convenience factor for some of these factors is a great thing for sure. Having something like that is definitely worth looking into and researching and seeing if it works for you, but that is another option as well too, is working with something like that where you can remotely turn on and off your systems. Now, these kind of go hand in hand with automated systems. Some people will normally, if they're doing automated systems, they'll also implement these, and I'm thinking about implementing these myself down the line, is having camera systems in place. So say you're sitting on the beach and you're drinking out of a coconut and you're wanting to see how Spike, your bearded dragon, is doing. You could literally pull out your phone and then bam, there's Spike the bearded dragon sitting under his basking spot. Perfect. I love that. You know, I would love something like that where I can just go at the convenience and kind of check a camera system, and I can even put a camera system on the reptile room itself, so I could watch someone do the maintenance. If they need help or anything like that, I can kind of guide them through those kind of steps, or I could just check on these specific animals themselves too and see how they are doing and see how the enclosure looks and so on and so forth. Those are all great things. So maybe implementing a camera system isn't a bad option as well. Okay, so not everyone is going to have someone that they can fully trust or is truly confident enough to take care of your animals. I get it. So what do you do in those cases to make sure that your animal is taken care of? Well, this is another great tip, and that is to maybe board your animals somewhere. So maybe looking into places that would be able to take in reptiles and are confident to take care of these animals, having that conversation with these people ahead of time, making sure that they know all the needs for these animals and are able to take care of these animals while you are gone. That is something great. It won't work necessarily for me, because this is a lot of animals to take in for a place that needs to board for sure. But if you have like one or two smaller reptiles, for sure, not like these big 18-foot retics or anything like that, I would say probably not going to take those into board. If you had more common smaller reptiles, I would say this is a great option to look into as well too, is boarding your reptile somewhere. So definitely something to keep in mind and looking out for and researching reputable options to board your reptile. That's something too. For example, say if you have snakes like this ball python right here, these guys normally eat only once a week, one meal once a week. Sometimes people do like once every other week, depends on the snake, depends on the diet, all sorts of different things, a lot of different factors. But they don't eat every single day is my point. So that's a great convenience with certain reptiles as well too, is they don't require food every single day. So if that's the case, maybe what the best option is a couple days before your trip, offering a meal, making sure that they take it, because you don't want to come back and there's like a dead rat just kind of rotting in their cage. Gross, but hopefully you have someone coming in to check in and make sure that that doesn't happen. But you don't want them to come into that situation as well too, because the smell of a dead rat is awful. So no one wants to deal with that, especially your person that's watching over your animals. They won't appreciate that. But regardless, feeding your animal a couple days before you go on your trip, that is totally fine. They'll be fine by the time you get back, and then you just offer another meal once you return. That is another great option too. With other animals, if you have to feed them right before you go on your trip, just kind of fill their bowl and then maybe have someone come in and check and make sure they get rid of all the leftover food in the bowl so they're not eating all the old decaying food. That is something great as well too. So having those options in place, those are great things to do as well too. That way the person that's coming in to check on your animal doesn't have to feed it all. They just have to check in and spot clean and clean waters potentially, but they don't have to necessarily feed, or maybe they have to feed a small amount depending on the reptile. And like I said, reptiles are great pets because if you're a busybody that's in and out of the home all day, you have quite a busy social life and you're constantly traveling, these guys are great because they're not like a dog where you have to constantly check in on the dog and make sure that you're giving the dog attention and taking it out on walks and so on and so forth. These guys, as long as you're maintaining them, they are going to be totally fine. And they put up with handling, but it's not something that they're getting a whole bunch of affection out of like a dog would, or if you're petting them. These guys are totally fine if you just leave them be. They're very independent animals, which makes them great pets for sure in my book. So again, as you're vacation planning, I hope some of these tips can be useful for you guys so you can make sure that your vacation is stress-free and you don't have to worry about your reptile at home because they are going to be well taken care of ahead of time. You pre-planned, all is going to be okay at that point. So I hope these tips were helpful. And like I said, if you didn't hear a tip and there's some tips that you guys have below, let me know in the comments. I want to hear those as well too, as would other people as well too. I always am looking for new tips and tricks as well, and other people are as too, and we are all just trying to help each other out at the end of the day. For example, last year when I went to Hawaii, by the way, check that video link above because that was a really cool trip and we had some really cool reptile adventures while we were on the island. But regardless, while I was in Hawaii, my mind was at ease because I had someone come in that I trusted to make sure that they were taking care of the animals. I gave them the roundabouts on how to care for these animals and the specific requirements. That called and checked in and everything was okay. So just having those plans in place is perfect to make sure that your animals are well taken care of. So there you have it, guys. Go out there and enjoy your vacation knowing that your animal is safe at home. So with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching today's video. If you guys could do me a few favors, if you could like this video and subscribe to the channel, I would greatly appreciate it, as well as share this video with a friend that may need this for their upcoming vacations. I would greatly appreciate that as well. All those things help this channel grow and move forward, so I would greatly appreciate you guys doing those things, as well as definitely hit that notification bell and definitely check me out on my social media as well too. I would greatly appreciate that as well. Thank you guys so much again for watching. Enjoy your vacation, have a safe, fun summer, and until next time, we will see you guys soon. Take care.